Hi there, Sophia. Hello, can you hear me? Hi, Sophia, can you hear me?
Oh, hi, Annabelle. I'm sorry. My Bluetooth
Oh, it's okay.
kept. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing great. How about yourself? How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Thank you.
All right, very good. Did you get in contact with the agent?
With who?
With the agent that I put you in contact with?
No, I never received anything from you.
Really? She was going to give you a call. Let me double check really quick.
No. What's her name?
Her name is Sherry Spain.
No, I never heard from her.
Really? Okay, let me I'm gonna send her a quick text right now while we wait for a couple more people.
I am looking at um, mortgages options. And no, I think I've heard you say that besides being an agent, you used to do mortgages?
I did. I started in the mortgage industry.
Right. So I started talking to loan officers and about getting pre-approved and stuff like that. And one issue that I'm running into is that they want me, because I own right now in New York. So they want me to be able to show a 45% DTI for both mortgages, like all my debts and,
Right. So everything combined,
right.
45%.
And I don't have that. Like my DTI is a little higher than that, a little bit higher than that. And I'm still now thinking about how I'm going to make this work.
Okay. Well, so 40, did you have an idea like how far apart you are? And is that taking into consideration rental income of those units or not?
Yes, everything in consideration. Yeah.
So they took your mortgage from your property in New York. They estimated the mortgage on the units, and how many units did they estimate approximately? Like what income?
Well, duplex, and
okay.
then I'll be staying in one and renting out one.
Right.
Yeah.
So you're looking at being, how high was the DTI?
65%.
Okay.
They want me to be below 45. They will consider, up to 50 just because I have an excellent credit. But yeah, that's about it.
So would it be, did they tell you, did you have to pay off maybe some credit cards, or did they?
No, it's just that my mortgage here in New York, it's high. And then when I add that to the new mortgage, basically I'll be carrying both mortgages,
Right.
So when I put those two together compared to my income, that's what the number is for the DTI. So I'm having them, I'm trying to I tried to get them to use the current property that I have here, because I am planning on selling it. But then they can only give me a pre-approval with a contingency that I get it sold.
Correct.
And I know that's not really,
It'll be tough. You'll
it'll
definitely
be
have a
tough.
hard time. So what
Yes,
I
exactly.
recommend, if the goal, I mean, what's your ultimate goal?
I mean, it's to sell here, and then move there. But then if I have to sell here first, and have the transaction closed in order for them to give me, a pre-approval, and in order for me to fall below that 45%, I feel like it's just going to take me a lot longer than I want.
No, you know what? I have a great idea. We'll discuss that. Remind me, let me get started on my presentation, and then I'll take questions and we'll discuss that. I've got some ideas for you.
Okay, awesome.
All right, perfect. Well,
Thanks.
welcome everyone. And just quick, let me, all right, let's get this started. So many of you, or I think the few that are on this call already know that my name is Annabelle Pacheco. I am an investor, I'm a real estate broker, and I've been in business for 24 years. My goal really is to share with you guys every week in detail the steps that I took to purchase my first multifamily deal, in hopes that you guys will also do the same thing. I want you guys to know that I'm not selling anything. I'm not offering anything. And I am not a financial advisor. I'm just here sharing my story, what I have been through, and hoping that, you know what, this is a platform that we can all share information with each other and learn from each other. So I really urge you guys to ask questions, bring your scenarios. Let's discuss, because I think we've got enough people on this call that have knowledge and that could help. If I don't have the answer, they could also help. Just a little bio on me. I started my career in the mortgage industry back in the mid-90s. I've purchased over 100 properties throughout my career, and built a 150 capacity restaurant in 2001 from ground up. We had a staff of about 15 people, including managers, chefs, and servers, and had that restaurant for about 8 years, sold it, and then went straight back into my strong, and I would say the best industry for me, which has been real estate. I've been doing it for the last 10 years, representing clients in both residential and commercial real estate. And I purchased my first multifamily deal, 34 doors in Texas in 2010. So have learned a lot, and really want to share with you guys, why I did this, and what I saw that was important for me, just learning and seeing other people do it. And really, it was to create cash flow and generational wealth. So I thought, how can we make our money work for us, right? And I know that we all have that. Everybody wants to make our money work for us, and not us have to go out and work for our money. And multifamily, the beauty of it was, number one, it provided us the opportunity to earn cash flow. Rental income minus all expenses is cash flow. Number two, it was having the opportunity to pay down the loan, where tenants were actually paying every month with their rent. They were paying off my loan. And I thought, where else can you get that? And number three was appreciation, that the property appreciates over the long run. And I'll share with you guys, when I bought my property, I didn't even think that it would appreciate the way that it appreciated, because we really never know what's going to happen in the market. You only know what's going on in the market at that moment. You can speculate, but I didn't think that it was going to appreciate the way that it did. And you guys will see, I'll share with you guys what happened. And number four is the opportunity, when you have multifamily, the tax benefits that come along with that. One is depreciation, that you're actually able to expense a portion of the physical structure each year on your taxes. And two, being able to do a 1031 exchange, which allows you to defer the capital gain taxes over time. I mean, like over and over, and there's absolutely no limit to how many times you can actually do the 1031 exchange. So I wanted to explain to you guys the value add multifamily property that I purchased. And it's very important that you guys understand value add. This property had the room for us to improve and increase its value. And I'm going to share with you a little bit later exactly what we did. So we purchased this property for $850,000. We provided a $350,000 down payment. Now, mind you, the seller did not list anywhere on that listing. There was no mention that they would seller finance or carry a note or be the lender. If you guys aren't familiar with carrying a note, it's actually the seller was the lender for 2 years for us. And the benefit of all of this was that it really, the process in applying for this purchase was very easy, because like many of you know, if you've tried to apply for a loan, the banks are very strict and they're going to ask you for a lot of, just a lot of supporting documentation to make sure that you guys actually qualify to purchase this property. So we lucked out. The seller financed $500,000 of the total price, and we gave them $350,000. During that time, during those 2 years, we were able to remodel and update all the units and increased the rents. So after the second year, so the property was now pretty much in, we could say turnkey condition. All units were rented. We were at 100% occupancy. We refinanced, and the property was appraised at $1.6 million. So we lucked out that in 2 years, and with the improvements to the property pretty much doubled, right? It just doubled in value. We, at that point, acquired a loan for $1 million. So we were at a 65% LTV, loan to value. And today we have zero invested in the property. And the value today on that property is $2.7 million. So it's definitely appreciated within the last, 6 years. So it's done really well. Now, I wanted to explain a little bit of what we did and how we did it. And this is just really good for you guys to note if you guys need to do something like this. So we remodeled units, and we had existing units in there. We had 1 bedrooms, 1 bath that were being rented out for $400 to $450 per month. After we remodeled them, we were able to increase the rent to $600 and $650 a month. And the 2 bedrooms, 2 bath units, those were being rented between $600 and $650. After we remodeled them, we increased $800 to $850,000. So let me show you. This is the building. This is the building you see here straight ahead is 24 units of 1 bedrooms, 1 bath, upstairs and downstairs. And then this building you see here is 10 units, 2 bedrooms, 2 bath, kind of a townhome style. It has a little patio in the back. I don't know if you could, you can't see it from here, but anyway, so what we did, so that you guys kind of get an idea, this is the condition the bathrooms were in. If you look here on the far left, it was really bad. So we decided at that point, all right, do we want to do just like a really just a Mickey Mouse kind of job and get people in, or, you know, are we willing to invest and rehab the property right now and then hope that at least, you know, we wouldn't have to do anything for the next maybe 5-7 years at all, or even longer, not have to wait anything. So we did that. We decided that we were going to just rehab fully all the units. And that's what was the after remodel. So as you can see, we did tile, you know, the new bathtubs, fixtures, all the cabinets were custom built and just redone completely, new lighting, flooring. We use vinyl flooring. These are like vinyl wood strips. They're easy if you need to repair any kind of leak or just anything. You know, you can just easily peel back. You don't have to rip out the entire flooring. You can peel back a certain area and then just fix that area, and then you just put that flooring back on. And then this is, you know, the interior. I would say kitchen, the stairs to go upstairs to the bedrooms, a living room area. That was the finished product. So, you know, when you take into consideration the repairs that you guys will be doing on the units, that's what's going to determine the income and what you're going to be able to, like, what your return will be. So for us, it made sense because the condition, the previous condition was really not livable, and the previous owner was not taking care of the property. And if someone is living in these conditions, the quality of tenant is also not the best. So we really came in and cleaned. We knew we were going to have to update and clean up the property. So you could see here, you know, we put crown molding, and honestly, a lot of this stuff is not that expensive. I think that it makes a really big difference. The presentation, how the unit looks, and if the property's cleaned up and it looks good, people are willing. They don't even, you know, they don't even ask. They're just willing. As long as they can get into a decent place, they'll pay. And I think that goes really anywhere. Again, my property is in Texas. I'm in Dallas, Texas, Grand Prairie. Let's see here. Let me stop sharing here for a second and let's talk. Anyone have any questions? Hi, Joanna. How are you?
Hi, Annabelle. Good. How are you?
I am doing great. Thanks for joining us.
I think my only question would be, how long ago did you buy this property? I think I jumped on a little bit late.
We bought the property in 2000. I've had it for 6 years, 7 years. But hold on a second. 2015. I think I put 2010 on my slide, but 2015 is when we purchased the property.
Oh, okay.
So, and in 2015, we really didn't know. I mean, we didn't know that the property would appreciate this much, especially because it was Texas. It wasn't California, and you know, we bought at that time with the hopes that we were able to improve the condition, increase the rents and cash flow, and have, you know, just have a decent cash flow on that property. So we were able to really check off all of it because it increased, I mean, it increased our cash flow, it increased the value of the property tremendously.
Yeah, that's a big jump from $850 to $2.1 million. That's really, really massive.
Yeah, 2.7, 2.7.
Oh, wow, 2.7. Wow, that's even better.
I know. So I know, you know, I mean, a lot of times we could say it's like, I mean, I don't know, maybe I would say what, like we hit a home run. But I think those deals, they're out there. You know, you're just not going to find it easily. And especially right now, the way the market is much, much more competitive. You're going to have to do a little more research, and you're going to have to reach out and think outside the box. You know, reach out to, I mean, property owners directly, try to make deals with them directly, because once they hit the market, it's really no longer the best deal. And all, I mean, in all fairness, I found this property on LoopNet. I happened to be searching for properties, and we were in. So let me kind of rewind and go back a bit. So when we decided that we were going to look to purchase multifamily, our plan was, okay, we're going to go out into that area, and we had decided that it was going to be in Dallas. And we studied the market. We'd go out in, you know, probably for a whole year. We would go out. I probably did a couple, let's say maybe 4 or 5 trips to Dallas for a week to 2 week long periods, and just go out and, you know, look at properties, different areas, become familiar, just like we would any, you know, even here in California. If I'm going to study a market, right, I'm going to drive by, I'm going to go look at the homes, look at the condition of the property. And so we did the same thing. We studied the market. We knew what areas we did not want to go into, and kind of decided that, you know, we're going to stay in one area. And then we would just look at properties. You analyze deals. You have to analyze a lot of deals before you actually find that perfect deal. And this was just, you know what, I think it's when it's meant to be, it's meant to be. I was there. We actually happened to be there that weekend, and I saw this property come up on LoopNet. I have a very good friend, mentor of ours, that was out there doing the same thing. And I had asked him, hey, what do you think of this area? And he said, you know what, that's a great area. Okay, perfect. We went to go see it. And you know what, it was the perfect deal for us, that we were just starting, right? It was like our first deal. And negotiated, I lucked out that I was a real estate agent. The seller was a real estate agent as well, who was selling this property. There was, you know, no representation. We represented ourselves. We negotiated. And I mean, I was able to, my knowledge in this, in real estate and representing lots of clients, it allowed me to use that knowledge for myself and negotiate. I wasn't afraid to ask for incentives, or possibly, like, you know, credit for repairs. A lot of times, I mean, my mentor was like, don't ask for anything, just pay what they're asking you to do. I mean, like, just give him what he wants, close the deal, get it. And I'm like, okay, that's fine, but you know what, I'm going to try. The worst thing that can happen is he says no. So I'm putting this out to you guys. When you're looking to purchase property, you can negotiate. They have a number, and no one's saying that they're going to give you the price that you want. You can ask, and maybe that leads to something that you had no idea that was even possible, and you guys get to walk away with some credit. Also, when you do your due diligence, we were able, during that due diligence period, and we did our investigations, there were things that showed up on the property that weren't disclosed by the seller. And so when these things come up and they're big capital expenditures, well, that gives you an opportunity to negotiate with the seller and say, hey, listen, you know what, we've got, the property needs a new roof, we need to do foundation work or electric work or plumbing, whatever it is. And you're able to put that in there and try to get yourself a discount on the property. So these are just, you know, a couple of things that I experienced, that I went through, that I think are important and will help any of you, whatever size multifamily you look to buy, you guys are looking to buy. Any? Hi.
Can I say something commenting on negotiations?
Absolutely.
I think that's critical and crucial. I just remember several years ago, I wish I had the knowledge then that I have now, but I was going to a funeral of a family member and I didn't have my pen and paper, and we're driving to the gravesite. Saw this townhouse in DC, Washington, DC for sale. Didn't know the price. I said, I'll just call it. I was just learning how to buy and sell. Once I got from the gravesite to the repast, actually the real estate person called me, and he said at the time he wanted $1.5 million. And I said, $1.5 million, is that the best you can do? I can't, 1.5 million. And it was a conversion of a condo and had stores in the bottom. Bottom line was, after weeks later, he calls me back and says, okay, the seller wants to give you 1.2 million. So that was $300,000 less. And so I said, well, I don't have construction people in that area, and who's going to give me $1 million at the time? 3 weeks later, a month later, I get a call back from the realtor, and it's down to 900,000. And so after that, I should have called a friend of mine who was an investor on Wall Street, because later on he tells me he would have gave me the $1 million. That property now is worth $3 to $5 million.
Oh my gosh.
And so negotiations is asking. The worst they can do is say no.
Right.
So I agree with you.
Right. And a lot of times we are, maybe it's we don't have the experience. We're afraid. But when you're dealing with hundreds of thousands of dollars, you better try to negotiate as much as you possibly can at that moment. That is that critical moment when you are able to get some sort of a discount, if any, on that property that you are interested in purchasing. So it's done all at the beginning during the due diligence. And I know that on my other talks, I've talked about the due diligence period and what you guys need to do during that time. And it is critical, right? It's critical. When we purchased our property, we were given actual we were given actual data to make the decision as far as if that is the proper price for us to pay. And we knew we were getting a good deal because the property wasn't being managed properly. He didn't take care of it. I mean, imagine tenants were living, and I'm not exaggerating. Those were pictures that we took. I mean, obviously we ripped stuff out, but people were living like that, and worse, roach infested units. We'd walk in and roaches all over the place. I mean, it was really, really bad. And the landlord really didn't care. He was like, well, they're giving me $400 a month. I don't care. I don't have to do anything. But if you're trying to grow this property and you want this property to give you higher cash flow and a higher return, you have to take care of it. You have to make that initial capital investment into the property so that in the long run, you are collecting. I mean, you basically, the investment, we more than tripled our investment in this property. Really, today, what it's worth, I never imagined in my life that we would have a property that has tripled or even quadrupled in value today. So they're out there, guys. 100% connect with other real estate agents, connect with other investors. Ask other investors, what are they doing? How are they coming up with properties, right? How are they purchasing these properties? When you connect and join, there's a lot of groups also on Facebook, multifamily groups. If you guys are really trying to get involved, there are some great groups. I am part of a couple multifamily groups, but there's a female, like a woman multifamily group that I'm part of. And Rod Khalif is huge on multifamily. You will learn so much. You will pick up so many ideas and just learn how to negotiate and become strong when it comes to purchasing a multifamily. Any other questions?
Annabelle, I had just a couple. So are you suggesting maybe we look for places like that that really need that kind of upgrade, and also, do you necessarily have to go out there? I mean, nowadays, but you can't really see inside. They show the outside. I guess you do have to, if you want to look at the inside.
So, much. If it's a fantastic opportunity if you can find units that need work. But believe me, those are the ones that are going to be snatched up first, because those are the ones that have that added value to the property. People want that. If you can focus and find those kind of units, it would be great. I'm not going to say it's a home run, but you know what? It's definitely a good opportunity for you to grow that property, for at least to improve it, increase its rental income and the value, because the value of the property is determined by the rental income that the property is producing. So yes, 100%, I think it's great. Now it depends if you're looking here in California or if you're looking to go out of California. If you go out of California, I think it only makes financial sense if you're buying, honestly, oh my gosh, probably 20 units plus, because the cost of, when you go out, if you've got to get on a plane to fly out there, and you have to, you got to get a hotel and you got to get a car and you've got all those expenses involved in that. If you have to do this, maybe the first year, if you have to do this every month, right? Does it make sense financially for 5 units or 10 units? It may not. It just may not make sense. And it may not even make sense at that point to hire a management company because there's just not enough profit. So I think that maybe it's best, if you're looking to buy a smaller amount, to stay somewhere here in California where you can drive, right? Maybe an hour, maybe 2 hours. That makes financial sense, that you can easily get to that property to take care of whatever it needs to without having to spend a whole lot of money to get there. But yeah, I'd say if you can find something that needs work, absolutely would be great.
I did look on Nevada. You had mentioned Nevada last call we were on, and so I kind of looked a little bit, getting an idea. At least I got started, so I appreciate it. Yeah. So,
look at I was checking. There are areas that they're doing this gentrification. And so the city is giving you money to do stuff. If you go in there and you want to build or you want to add or you want to do stuff, they are giving you money to do it. As long as they've got guidelines, you follow those guidelines, you guys can get something. Look, we got to start somewhere, right? So even if it's maybe 2 or 3 units, driving to Vegas, it's easy, right? 4 hours, we get in there, go take care of it. So even if it's 4 units, or even if it's buying a single family residence that maybe you can add an accessory dwelling unit, and now you're renting the single family and you can rent that accessory dwelling unit. That's great.
Thank you.
Yeah. Hi, Taisha, how are you?
Good afternoon, Annabelle. I'm doing well. Hi, everybody.
Good afternoon. Thank you so much for joining. Any progress on your multifamily search, or have you done anything? Where are you at? How can I help you?
Yes, I'm in Los Angeles, local realtor here, and I joined your call probably a little over a month ago, and happy to be back on the call, able to access the call and everything now. So primarily, I've just been doing research online, checking MLS, and doing some drive-bys, and nothing that I've made an offer on or really pursued yet, but kind of like the gentleman before, just starting to get in the, I guess, in the habit of being on the lookout or trying to develop an eye, for certain properties.
Perfect. Tell me what are you looking for?
I'd like to buy a duplex or a triplex. Mm-hmm.
Okay. What area?
Well, that I haven't determined right now. Like I said, I'm in Los Angeles, California,
right.
But I do listen, and I've been taking notes on possibly looking out in other areas out of state. But more than likely, I will probably start with my first one in California or maybe another state right next to us. So
nearby.
Yeah, would be a little bit easier.
Yeah. Do you mind me asking what state you're looking at?
Well, I haven't narrowed it down, but I know I hear you, and I've talked with some other people, and they've all said try to find somewhere where you can access it easier. Of course, I've been given the advice of choosing a property manager, to maintain properties, but ultimately, I don't know what the final decision would be. That's why I'm just coming into the calls, just gaining more knowledge.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It only, the management, if you're going to buy a duplex, the management has got to make sense, right? Your management expense just can't take away at your profits if it's doable or manageable. I mean, if you're a real estate agent, you probably know how to prepare a lease agreement for the clients, and you know what to require or request from them so that you can secure that lease. And I mean, I would say manage it yourself, make it a thing where you're out there maybe once a quarter, every 3 months, you're out there, you visit the property, you can inspect, you can do whatever you need to do. And what you want to do is have a plumber, an electrician, a handyman on standby that maybe works other properties in that area as your contact, so that when you do buy a property, wherever it is, that you have your little team that you can reach out to whenever anything happens, that you can immediately just, hey, give them a call. You trust them, you build on that relationship, you trust them, and you send them out and you pay them for the work that they're doing, instead of having to pay for the work that they're doing and then someone managing that for you. Make sense?
Yes. Thank you for that advice.
Yes. You're welcome. You're welcome. It's, I have learned, I've been through it myself. And I think that is one of the reasons why we decided to just form our own management company. And really, I have one manager and one handyman that live on the property that take care of the property for me. What I pay them is minimal to what it would have cost me to hire a management company to actually run that property for me. And it just didn't make sense. I'm not, okay. Is it easy? It's not easy. It's 34 doors. Someone's toilet, someone's sink, something always happens, but that's just part of the business. And you have to be okay, and you have to embrace it. You just have to take care of it. And you have to have the people that are going to take care of those problems available for you to just pick up the phone and call and say, hey, you need to go and take care of that. So it is, it's a problem. It's not an easy, owning 34 units is not easy. I'm not just sitting here and the money's just coming in. There are issues and there are things that we've got to take care of. And that's the reality. At one, you could have a single family home, that could be a problem. You can have 34 units, it could be a problem. You can have 100. It's all the same thing. The difference is, what's the single family residence? What are you producing from that single family residence? And is it worth the headache? Versus, what am I producing at 34 units? Is it worth the headache or 100 units? So it's all relative, but I can tell you, we are managing 34 units with one manager who lives on the property and a handyman. And then we have our electrician, our AC guy, You know, all the specialty contractors, those are there on call. When we need them, we call them. So anybody want to share anything that they're maybe currently experiencing, that they're having some sort of difficulty, so that we can discuss here, maybe come up with a solution?
And about for financing or like for like lending purposes, how does that work? Like for multifamily, because obviously it's different for single family than it is for like 34 units. Because I know they take into consideration all of the rents that are coming in.
Right.
So how does that work? Yeah.
So that's another one of my classes, like one of my talks. The whole class is on how to, you know, like how to determine that. But in a nutshell, it's really based on the performance of the property. So if the property is performing whatever LTV that, you know, usually they'll require, right now it's like 25%, 30% down payment. The property must it's got to produce enough to pay everything, right? It's mortgage. That's the only way that the bank will lend you. So it's not based on your personal credit. They'll look at it, but they don't base, you don't qualify based on your credit. You qualify based on the performance of the property. That makes sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, and there's a lot more. But if you want, next week we'll probably talk about that. If you want to join the call, we'll go through all of that. Sophia, let's talk about your situation. You there?
Yes, I'm here.
All righty, let's talk. Tell me about your situation again. Let's see how I can help you with that.
Yeah, so I know you said you were going to give me a couple of ideas about how to handle this CTI issue I'm having.
Okay, so there we go. That's what it was. So what I see that's happening right now and is giving clients the opportunity to sell in this crazy market and also buy, what's working for me is, if I'm representing a seller on a property, I am trying to negotiate, obviously, no appraisal, no loan contingency, and a very, very tight inspection contingency period, and trying to get 2 to 3 months for free after the closing, so that my clients can purchase another property, close on that transaction, stay in the property, and it gives them sufficient time to find that replacement property and move out. They may not, I mean, I haven't used all 3 months, but you'll probably need a good 2 months to make this happen. So in your case, if you need to sell this, can you hear me? So if you need to sell
Yes,
this,
I'm here.
okay, perfect. So if you need to sell your property, I would sell your property and try to negotiate that you stay in that property for 2 to 3 months, and then you can purchase this other property that you want. You've now satisfied, you know, you've gotten rid of that loan. You're now going to be able to qualify for this other loan, and then you don't have to worry about it. And then as soon as you close on your new purchase, you can move into that property. But you've already collected the money. You already have the money in your pocket. You no longer have that loan showing on your credit. You won't have that DTI issue.
Right, makes sense. I was actually thinking about it too. Yeah, I was just hoping that, you know, in this market, I will be able to find a buyer that will be willing to do that.
Let's connect. I promise you, it's doable. I'm doing it. I'm doing that right now with my clients. So let's talk a little bit, and then I'm going to make sure with this agent that I put you in contact with, that she understands this situation, and we can help you make this happen so that it's a smooth transition. It's honestly, I think it's the only way to do something like that right now in this market. If you're looking to take advantage, I mean, I'm sure New York, it's exactly like California. Houses are, I mean, you probably have multiple offers, 20, 30 offers on properties. Yeah. Is it that way right now out there?
Yes.
It is.
It is depending on the areas. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I'm in Long Island, and there, I mean, in fact, a friend of mine just put the house on the market last week and got multiple offers in 1 week.
Yeah.
In
Long
fact,
Island,
they're bidding 30 to 50,000 more than what they're asking
okay.
for.
Perfect.
Yeah,
so so California and New York are in the same boat. The same thing is happening right now. So what we are doing, because there are so many offers, and you know what, Joanna, and I know Tahisha, you guys are realtors. What I have to do is we're having the buyers remove appraisal, loan contingencies, and their inspections is like super tight, 5 days, because we don't want to waste time, right? And if everything is good, we're done. We don't have to worry about it. I can now go out and start looking for a property for my clients and let them know that we're closing, and they will. I mean, we went into escrow into another property before my clients even closed their deal, but I was able to show the closing statement to the new, submitted it with the offer, and they accepted it. And obviously my clients went up like $45,000 over the price, but you know what? It was worth it. They got it. And we did remove appraisal contingencies. We did remove loan contingencies. Now, when you're going to remove all those things, you have to make sure that you're 100% solid, that you've spoken to the lender, and the lender says, it's a done deal. Don't worry about it. Go for it. You can remove it. And then, as a real estate agent, I'll do my comparison, and I study the market, and I'm able to pull comps. And let me tell you, it's scary, right? Because we know that the values of properties are going up right now because buyers are overbidding, and the value came in. But you also have to prepare the client, and you need to let the client know, hey, listen, if it doesn't appraise, you may have to come in with maybe $20,000, maybe $30,000. Are you okay doing that? And in this market, people are okay doing that and more. I don't know if anybody else on this call is experiencing that, but I'm experiencing that on almost, all my transactions.
Yes, if I can just chime in. So hi, Annabelle. Finally, I was able to join. I get off work a little bit before 4 o'clock, which is the time you start. So my window is very short, but I told myself, I don't care how late I am. I'm jumping in today.
Welcome. You know what? I do record this, so we'll be sending out the recorded part of the presentation, so you can take a look at it when you have some time.
Yeah, absolutely. And I typically do that every week, but it's still different when you're there at that time, so you can ask those questions. But I'm from Chicago, and it's a seller's market. Like, it's insane. Like, it's almost insane. So yeah, there's multiple offers on property. I'm a homeowner, and I'm not looking, as of right now, I'm looking to purchase multifamily, but within a couple of years. So I'm just trying to understand the language, get myself educated. But yeah, it's definitely a seller's market here as well. And tons of multiple offers on properties. It's the price of like doing rehabs or remodeling. It's very costly if that's the route some people are choosing to, because materials are just so expensive right now.
Yeah.
So it applies here as well.
Okay. So yeah, and I think this is just the new norm, right? How long is this going to go? How long is this going to happen? We don't know. They're saying it's going to go through next year. We have no idea. So I mean, I'm letting you all know that if you're looking to do something right now, you have to be aggressive. You've got to make sure you do your numbers, right? Everything's got to make sense. And when you look at numbers, you're looking at actual information and not pro forma information, which is very, very critical. A lot of times sellers will give you the best case scenario of what a property is producing and its performance, and it may not actually mean that that's the value of the property. And you cannot buy it based on, you know, their pro forma, because it's not worth it. So just, you know, just a few tidbits and just things that I've experienced, that I've gone through, and that I'm actually going through right now. And like in your case, Sophia, I think that if you have we get an aggressive agent working with you in New York to sell this property, and then we get an aggressive agent in Atlanta, that's the only way that this happens. You've got to have aggressive and strong agents working, representing you to make it happen.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
So we'll talk some more. I'll make sure that, you know, we'll get the Atlanta and we'll get New York kind of in sync, both agents, so that they know what they need to do. And you shouldn't have a problem, especially in this market. You really should not have a problem. This is the moment to take advantage. Any other questions? Anybody else struggling on anything? Let me know.
I do have a question, more so a comment, if I will. So I did send you an email maybe a few weeks back, and we did a little bit of communication. So if you have time to do a one-on-one, I just kind of wanted to pick your brain about the multifamily process. So once again, to get myself educated and know the language and be prepared.
Yeah, why don't you, you have my email. I actually, I'm going to send you an email. I have a Calendly on there. Click on it, schedule a time, and then let's chat for 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah, wonderful. Sounds good. Because the email that I was communicating with you is fine, but when I do automatically reply, it gives me like tons of characters. That's weird. So I have to kind of like copy and paste your email into that thread that we were working on.
Okay. I'll double check your email, and then I'll send it to you because I think that probably the email that you get, it comes from my CRM, and then versus my own personal, but I'll send you a personal one, and then you can connect with me that way. It'll probably be easier.
Okay, wonderful. Sounds good. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. All right, guys. Well, if no one else has any questions or any comments or anything they want to share with the group, I will end the call. And again, if you guys want to connect directly with me, I'm open. You guys have, if you don't have my numbers, let me put it on the chat. I'll put my email, my direct email here. There's my email, and if you guys want to also maybe include your information on the chat and share it with others on this call, if you guys want to connect. Again, this platform is for us to share information, for us to help each other. I want to grow this. I want people to just come on this call and, you know what, bring maybe your objections, your problems. Let's discuss. You know, I may not have the answers, but I'm sure there's other people on this call that have the answer. So please, you know, make sure that you come with questions, concerns, you know, problems. Let's try to resolve them. Let's try to find a solution for this problem. There's always a solution in real estate. There's always a solution. All right. So if no other questions or no other comments, there you go. Perfect. Thanks, Patricia. I'll copy and paste and connect with you on this. Perfect. All right, everyone. Well, thank you so very much again for joining. Joanna, it was great to see you. Patricia, Tahisha, Sophia, Thomas, and Williams, thank you guys so very much for joining my call, and I'll see you guys next week, all right?
Sounds good. Thank you, Annabelle, for what you do as well. And to everyone that's on the call, be safe, be well, and have a great weekend.
Thank you so very
You as
much.
well. Thank you.
All
Thank
righty.
you.
Take care.
Bye, guys.
Thank you, Annabelle.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.